Think about it. Think about it. Think about it.
And welcome everybody to High School Basketball Weekly, our special edition tournament time. I'm absolutely delighted to have with us here former Hoosick Valley Boys head coach Bill Robinson, joining us here as a co-host in place of Rick Boo, is still a little bit under the weather. Hopefully Rick will get back with us one way or the other next week. But we've got a lot to report on this week in High School Basketball Weekly. Specifically, we want to bring to you the Western Mass playoff action, the championship Saturday action that featured both the Drury boys and the Hoosick Valley girls, as well as state semifinal action. So without further ado, Coach, we're going to get into and really talk about the Drury boys, who repeat now as the Division IV Western Mass champions. And yeah, I know you were at the cage, Coach. This is really one wild and crazy high school game, depending upon how you look at it.
Yeah, it's not your typical Drury team that plays good, sound, hard-nosed defense. This was definitely a wide open affair.
85-82. Drury was the winner in overtime.
Scott McGuire put on a tremendous offensive show. Rebounding, I don't know what the totals were on his rebounds. He had to have close to 20 rebounds on top of his 45 points. There he goes.
Right, and this is Scott McGuire. He basically had his way, Coach, all day. Did not shoot effectively from three-point, but he didn't need to, because once he started to see how they were playing it defensively, he just took the ball to the basket at will.
Yeah, if you notice, Bay State ran a wide zone, so they were really trying to cover the shooters on the perimeters. And Coach Rossett made a nice move by putting Scott in at the foul line. And that's where all the space was. So Scott got the ball at the foul line, and he could just penetrate, do whatever he wanted to do, and he's very creative around the basket. So when they did come down and to help, he made a creative shot. So kudos to Drury, back-to-back champions, and what a career for Scott McGuire.
And this Drury team jumped out in the first half and had leads, some small leads, but it was quite a finish to this first half when Scott McGuire, with just about 5-6 seconds on the clock, Drury inbounded the ball to close out the half.
Don't turn it over.
Splits the play. It's Friday on fire from half court,
baby!
to close out the first half for the Drury Blue Devils. The score.
That was quite a way for Drury, Coach, to end the first half. So they went into the locker room with the lead. But you have to give credit to this Bay State Charter team. They came back. Drury had them up at one point in the fourth quarter by 9 points, but they went on a little bit of a run themselves. They were led by Deion Brown and Travis Jordan, their outstanding sophomores, and they cut the lead to Drury down to single digits down. Actually, at one point, they were down by just a couple and were threatening to tie the game. Ultimately, Bay State Charter was able to tie this ball game and send it into overtime in a wild affair. Bay State Charter in the overtime scored the first basket, but Drury was able to crawl back in it, tie it up, and that's when we had some real heroics by Keegan Vidal.
Oh boy.
Long cross court. The Vidal, he's open. He's got
Keegan with a big three, the biggest three of his life.
Keegan Vidal.
Now there on that wide open three, play run for him. He took the shot, ice in his veins, nailed it, and Vidal put Drury up at that point in the game with really we're under 20 seconds to go in the game in the overtime at that point. However, Bay State had one last shot at it to close this game out. And we had some video there of Bay State, the final play of this game. in any event, we see if we can get that out.
For three, doesn't go in!
Drury
And
wins!
Drury has won the Division IV Western Mass Championship in an incredible finish to this Division IV matchup between Drury and Bay State Academy. Drury 85
And there they are, Western Mass champs.
and
Second time back to back. Who would have thought, beginning of the year, they thought so.
Well, there it is. As you heard right there, Drury completes the back-to-back championship repeat in Division IV. And it wasn't easy, Coach, for Drury in this tournament. They played Hopkins Academy, and I'll tell you, this Hopkins Academy team, I had not seen them with that sophomore backcourt that they had. They gave Drury all they could handle there. And I thought actually at points outplayed Drury, but Drury hung in there. McGuire really was the difference throughout this tournament. He by himself was able to keep Drury in both those games.
Yeah, you're right. Siagalo and Earl from Hopkins shot the ball tremendously well in that game. They had guys in their face too when they were still making baskets. And then Bay State with their sophomores. So these teams that Drury played, they're young. They're going to battle Drury over the next couple of years as well. But I just want to go back to John Bird's comment there on the video where he said, "Who would have thought it?" Well, I had Drury marked in early in the year that they were going to win back-to-back titles when they had Scott McGuire coming back. So I would have thought it, but they had to work for it. They certainly had to work for it.
That's true. Yeah, and that's true. No question about it, Coach. I had them in our own rankings. We had them ranked, either 1 or 2 the whole year in Division IV. And really, I mean, they should have probably been ranked number 1, given the fact that they were playing such a much more difficult schedule than the other teams in Division IV, having to play Taconic a couple times, Wacona, Pittsfield, Hoosick, Monument. So they went through the iron in Berkshire County, and I think obviously that helped them down the road. So I wasn't so surprised that they repeated, but I was surprised at the competition. Those were 2 young teams that Drury played, both in Bay State and Hopkins Academy. Those 2 teams have really the nucleuses of their team back, the scorers. So you're going to be looking for both those teams going forward in Western Massachusetts. And then a game that was played on Tuesday night in the state Division IV semifinals, Drury played a Hopedale team, a big physical Hopedale team, and came up on the short end of it, 74 to 65. Again, McGuire leading Drury with 33 points and 10 rebounds. His final game, he closes out his career, outstanding career, at Drury High School, and but really it's the difference in this game, as acknowledged by Coach Reset, was the inside physical game of Hopedale. Drury was just not able to compete up front with these guys, and they ended their season in a state semifinal loss to Hopedale.
Yeah, it looked like the Drury front court of Timmy Brazzo and Louis
Gelati, right?
Really struggled, especially Gelati didn't score a point in this game, and he was counted on throughout the tournament. He had a couple big games for Drury, but that's what happens. Especially if you play a team like Hopedale, who's senior oriented. It's a tough game, a tough pill to swallow. I was reading one of the articles, and it was funny because one of the kids from Hopedale said that their defender who was guarding Scott did a great job holding him to 33. I just had a laugh, holding the guy to 33, and he did a great job. Pretty good, but that's Scott McGuire for you, and his reputation obviously peeked through more than just Berkshire County. He was known throughout the state. So
yeah, one of the top, no question, probably one of the top players in the state of Massachusetts, an outstanding scorer. I was impressed with him, seeing him really 3 games this year, but the 2 games down at the tournament, down at the cage, I was impressed with his rebounding. He's got some hops. He can get up there, and he can play in the perimeter as well as down low in the block. And again, I think one of the keys in both games, both the semifinal and the final Western Mass, is when Drury played him at the foul line against zone defenses. It really opened up things for him. At the perimeter, he struggled a little bit, but he really had his way once he got in there.
Yeah, because like I said earlier, he's very creative around the basket. He has a number of different moves and different release points inside. He's very good around the basket, and that's why he's the scorer that he is. You can score like that from inside. Plus, he has the ability to go outside and hit the three, but as we've seen in the past. But just a tremendous player. He's going to be missed in Berkshire County. Drury's going to miss replacing his points, I'll tell you that.
No question about it. But he's going to close out his career with an outstanding scoring record for Drury High School, the all-time leading scorer both in points in a season as well as points in a particular game. Of course, we were talking with Tommy Bullitt, who was at the Western Mass final, who Scott McGuire broke his single game scoring record. And Tommy was laughing. He said he's an outstanding player. He did acknowledge how good a player McGuire was, but it said at one point in that game, he said, in the Bay State game, he said he wanted to put on a uniform. He said he thought he could get 40 against that defense. So just tongue-in-cheek more than anything else.
You got to remember, too, when Tommy played, there was no three-point shot.
No three-point line. He liked that. He said, boy, I was before my time, so to speak. So congratulations to Drury, though, on a great season, repeating as the Division IV Western Mass champions. Coach Reset, a solid year for his squad, and nothing to hang their head at, getting all the way into the state tournament. Back-to-back, I guess it's the order of the day in Western Mass this year, because in Division III, the Hoosick Valley girls, who took the 3 seed in the Western Mass region, came out and had an outstanding tournament, and especially down at the cage, and topped Wauconah, their Berkshire rival, in the Western Mass Division III championship game in a really kind of a low-scoring affair, 43-30, Coach. And we were at that game. I called that game on TV here for Northern Berkshire Community Television, and this was a game where Hoosick Valley held Wauconah scoreless in the first quarter, 11-0. You don't see that very often, but they had Wauconah bottled up. Wauconah didn't shoot the ball, in fairness, very well in the ball game, but they had Wauconah bottled up in that first half.
Well, and again, like you had mentioned, Wauconah didn't shoot well, but you got to remember who was taking the shots too. Right. The people that make shots for Wauconah weren't taking those shots in that game, and I go back to the Morgan Marszewski girl, who had, 17 points the game before.
Right.
I don't think she attempted a shot, never mind make a shot. I don't think she attempted a shot in the game. That's how glued to her Hoosick Valley was. And, they just took away Maria's driving ability and did a nice job on Noelle Furlong. Just kept them at bay. And, familiarity breeds boredom, I guess.
Right.
It was a really boring game for a long time in that game.
Right.
Same thing with Hoosick. They struggled to score as well. But, they had a few more answers on Saturday and were able to overcome, obviously, scoring 0 in the quarter. They got ahead 11-0 and built it to 22-3 at halftime, and that one just seemed to be insurmountable on that day.
Right. And right now, Coach, we're pleased to have us join here on High School Basketball Weekly, the head coach of the Hoosick Valley Hurricanes, Ron Wojcik. Coach, thanks for joining Coach Robinson and myself here on High School Basketball Weekly, and congratulations on repeating as Western Mass Division III champions, and even more importantly, getting back to defend your Division III state championship. You're going to play St. Mary's of Lynn on Saturday, hopefully, in the state Division III championship. Quite an accomplishment for your team to go back-to-back to the state tournament.
Thank you very much, Tim. Yeah, it was a great win for the kids last night. It was a tough ball game against a good club, and kids really need some big plays down the stretch, and we knocked down our free throws pretty well too.
Well, that was quite a change from the tournament in the sectional tournament, where actually Hoosick Valley struggled from the foul line, but you had some great foul shooting last night. I think you went 18 for 22 at the foul line.
Yeah, we did, and really, you look at freshman and sophomore Gabby and Avery. They went 13 for 14 between the two of them.
Coach, having watched you guys all year long, I think this team continues to get better, especially defensively and coming together as a unit. But I also think you've gotten really improved play from your freshmen, Gabby Billets and Avery McGrath, seem to have really come on here towards the end of the season a little bit.
Yeah, they're playing much better. I think as a unit, the group is we're playing much better defensively, and really that's been our focus because we're up and down with our scoring and shooting, and we're not very consistent offensively. So because of that, we've been really just trying to focus on shutting teams down, keep the scores down, and give ourselves an opportunity to win down the stretch.
Well, you get another rematch with St. Mary's of Lynn. Of course, I'm sure St. Mary's of Lynn is looking forward to playing Hoosick Valley, as you topped them last year to win the state championship. You played them earlier in the year in the holiday tournament out here at Hoosick Valley. We covered that game, and St. Mary's is a very good squad. They really had their way with you early in the season, but I think you guys are a little bit of a different team now towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I think so. St. Mary's is very good. They got the whole package. They've got shooters, they got bigs inside, they got strong guard play. So yeah, I mean, certainly when you get to this level, you're going to be playing a really good team, and they definitely are. I think earlier in the season, we were trying a lot of different things, a lot of young kids. Obviously, losing Riley in the first quarter of that game is huge, and a key cog for us. So, I think the way we're playing now, if, we can do some things defensively against them and maybe limit their scoring a little bit, we can certainly compete much better than we did in December.
Talk a little bit about your team here, Coach. We've been, of course, seeing it all year long. You don't have anyone that scores in double figures, but you have a lot of people scoring just under double figures. And what my observation is, looking at Hoosick Valley and comparing them to a lot of the teams you play, et cetera, is it seems like you put on the floor pretty much at all times 5 players who have good basketball skills, play pretty good fundamental basketball. So it's pretty hard for teams to concentrate on stopping one player or 2 players, because you have other players that step up, people off the bench like Andy Canals can hit the 3-ball from the perimeter, as an example. So you do put a lot of good skilled basketball players on the floor.
Yeah, I think we do, and on any given night, somebody different typically steps up. A number of the kids can shoot the 3-ball. I think we've got 4 or 5 kids with over 23s on the season, and like you mentioned, I mean, we've got Riley, Avery, and Sarah averaging about 9 each, and then followed by Gabby, then Shay at 6 and 7. And a couple other girls in 4 or 5. So, yeah, it's spread out. We haven't seen those funky defenses this year, the diamond and ones or triangle and twos or anything like that. And I think it's like, as you mentioned, because we've got a number of kids that can score, and so the teams haven't really focused on trying to take out any one player.
And do you have the time for the game on Saturday against St. Mary's?
We don't have anything yet, and I'm kind of concerned that we're even going to be able to get it in. They're shutting down college campuses now, and Worcester State was supposed to host a couple games today. Those have been canceled. So looking for an alternative site. I think Savas and Munson from Western Mass were supposed to play down there tonight.
Right.
Looking for an alternative site for them. So I think they were supposed to split 4 games Saturday out of the 8 at Worcester State and at ECU. Now, without Worcester State being available, I'm not really sure which way they're going. I know the MIA was meeting this afternoon to discuss things. You know, and obviously, certainly one of the discussion topics is whether even to host the game Saturday. So right now, yeah, we're kind of up in the air. Anything they said they wouldn't have any times until after the games tonight completed. So, you know, right now with everything going on, we're just going to have to take a wait-and-see approach.
Right. Well, Coach, hopefully they'll get that part of it squared away, and they'll get the schedule out soon enough so people can make their plans. We want to wish you the best of luck on Saturday or whenever that game is played. Is quite an achievement for Hoosick Valley to be going back once again, defending their Division III girls state championship. And it's been, no matter how it comes out, it's been a great season for Hoosick Valley. The ladies have really done a great job and really come together as a unit. And I want to congratulate you and the team on another great year.
Thank you very much, Tim. Yeah, I'm really proud of the girls. I mean, they've worked their tails off to get to this point, and we all know that this is not an easy thing, you know, accomplishment to get to. We've beaten some good teams to get here, a good Wacona team, certainly a really good senior Leighton Millbury team last night, and can't say enough about the kids and their efforts and the way they've really come together this year.
Great. Well, good luck again, Coach. Thank you. We'll see you down the road, I'm sure, and hopefully you'll get that game in on Saturday.
Okay. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you very much.
See you, Coach.
All right. And that's head coach Ron Wojcik. And let's go back and talk a little bit about this championship game, Western Mass championship game, Coach, on Saturday. And Hoosick Valley, I think one of the big differences, and we just alluded to it, was Gabby Billets in this game. She really did a nice job winning the basket and had some nice scores in the second half, especially. What can you say about this freshman? She seems to really come on a little bit. Good footwork and a lot of very good rebounds.
Yeah, she's getting a lot better with her footwork. You know what she's getting a lot better in? She's more patient when she gets the ball. Early in the year, she was catching the ball and rushing up a shot or throwing a quick pass. It was almost like she wanted to get rid of the ball.
Right.
Now she's taking her time, and you just saw a great head fake there. Let a girl blow by her, and then she went up and laid the ball in. That's been tremendous, the difference. And the other thing is she's turned out to be a pretty good foul shooter.
Right.
Coach just mentioned her and Avery last night. Gabby was 6 for 6 last night, and she made some crucial ones late in that game with under 2 minutes to play. Went to the line and knocked the front end of a one-on-one and the back end, which, you know, gave Hoosick maintained a 2 or 3 point lead. So.
You know, the other thing I notice about her is on the rebounding end of it, when she gets her hands on the ball, rarely is the ball ever taken away from her.
Yeah, she's a tough kid. Rarely do you find a freshman who's got that kind of mental and physical toughness.
Right.
And, you know, Hoosick's lucky to have her. And, you know, I'm sure she's happy right now that she's a Hurricane.
Another young lady who flies under the radar a little bit. I mean, you talk about the obvious people, Riley Robinson and Sarah Field, who've had outstanding years for Hoosick Valley and great careers. But Shaylee Levesque, I thought she had a great game against Gambaroni. She had a lot of help, no question about it, but she drew that assignment. She's a very tough-nosed, also very tough-nosed young lady, and there's no quit in her either. And I thought she had a great game against Gambaroni, Maria Gambaroni for Wacona. She brings it pretty much every night.
Yeah, you know, she leads the defense out front, so she's got the opposing team's point guard, and she's out there to put pressure on that guard. And you know, where Hoosick wings can start putting pressure on the wings, deny the ball, and they're kind of one-on-one inside right now with Billets and Robinson. But it all starts with Shaylee on top, making sure that ball is pressured, and no easy passes inside or even to the wings. So it begins out front there, and she's a bulldog. She's tough, and you know, again, nothing more apparent than last night. That toughness came through last night.
Right. Yeah, you were at the game last night when Hoosick Valley beat Millbury in the state semifinals, and she had a big foul shot at the end too.
Yep, she certainly did. She went to the line, made the front end of a 1-on, hit the back rim, went straight up in the air and came through. And then she missed the second, but she hustled in and tied up the rebounder for a jump ball, which went to Millbury, but it gave us the possession back, which is key. Just those little things like that you don't recognize in a game, but if that possession swung again, it would have been ours, and just a good all-around effort.
All those little things, and ultimately that's what spelled the difference for Hoosick Valley as they edged the Millbury Woolies and got a little payback for a loss in the Hoop Hall Classic earlier in the year. But they edged Millbury to win the state semifinals, and as you heard Coach Ron Wojcik now, it will be Hoosick Valley in a Division III rematch with St. Mary's of Lynn at a time and a place yet to be determined. So you're going to have to stay tuned to your local newspapers, etc., to find out when that game and where that game is going to be played for the state championship. It was very rewarding to watch Hoosick Valley down at the cage here. Probably the final year we're going to see the tournament played in the cage. We wish that wasn't the case, but the way the setup is going to be going in the future, it's unlikely that the cage is going to host it. But it was great to see Hoosick Valley at the end of that game with Wacona. And of course, we caught up with the great senior Riley Robinson for Hoosick Valley, and she just had a little bit of a reflection on the game and her career at Hoosick Valley.
Like your co-captains, Sarah Field and Shaylee Levesque, quite a career here. You finish out here at the cage. This is like a second home for Hoosick Valley, isn't it?
It really is. We love coming back to the cage. It really is our second home. We play here probably better than we do in our own gym. So,
it looked like from us, we were broadcasting the game, and it looked like from the time you guys started this game, you were determined. There was a determined look on Hoosick Valley. They wanted to come away with a championship.
Yeah, I'm very proud of the girls. We stepped up huge today. I thought that we played really well with our teamwork. We passed the ball very well. We rebounded very well. All together, we all just worked as one unit, and that's what got us the win.
Yeah, there was. We commented that there was distributed scoring throughout the ball game, and you got it from all different sources.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the keys that we had going into the season. We had a lot of people who could score. During the season, we had a different person every night being the leading scorer.
Yep.
And there she is, and she's had a great career, Coach. I know you're very, very objective about it. She's had a great career. Your daughter, Riley, has been now part of 3 Western Mass championships. She's been to the state title game 3 times in her career. Quite an achievement for anybody in high school, no question about it.
The senior class.
Yep.
They have quite a career. Sarah, Riley, and Shaylee. You're right. They're going to play in. Well, they play in 2 state finals, and maybe they'll play in a third. We'll have to see with this virus going around, but
hopefully.
Yeah, but 3 Western Mass titles, not too shabby.
Absolutely, and here is, it doesn't get old for them, but you see these championship celebrations, and we caught this one at the cage, and here it is.
And here come the tri-captains for Hoosick Valley, the Lady Hurricanes, receiving their championship trophy. But a long season, and they are the champions again. An outstanding performance there defensively for Hoosick Valley.
Coach, it never gets old, that's for sure, and congratulations to Hoosick Valley. One more game in the high school basketball season left. That will be Hoosick Valley and St. Mary's, a rematch of the Division III Western Mass Championship on Saturday at a site and a time to be determined, God willing. Until then, we'll be back with one more week of High School Basketball Weekly. Of course, we want to have our all-tournament teams selected and a review of the state championship game. So join us next week on High School Basketball Weekly.